dive right into this time. Premium here. That's quite enough copyright music for one night, for 1 week. Aye. Well, hello and welcome into this Thursday's entertainment news. It is Thursday, I'm pretty sure it is. It's Thursday. Entertainment news. I am Jonathan, sometimes lovingly referred to as Cecil back in my childhood days by my sister. Walsh. It was Christopher. It wasn't Cecil, but it began with a C, didn't it? I think Cecil began with a C, maybe an S. I digress. I'm here to discuss some entertainment news, and in this case, it is today-old entertainment news that I am here to discuss because I want to talk about Wonka. It comes out tomorrow in theatres. Hard to believe. Speaking about this film for, I want to say, at least 2 years now. In fact, it may be even further back, because we were doing audio podcasts back in the day when the news initially broke that Paul King was leaving the Paddington franchise, had been secured by Sony to come in and direct a Wonka movie. Just make sure that intro switched off so when I come back to this scene in about 15 minutes or something, hopefully it's not that long. No one wants to hear that level of waffling for 15 minutes. It doesn't come back on. But yeah, it was broke. The news was broke many moons back. I'd actually have to look back and see exactly when Paul King was announced as the director for Wonka. But I remember me and Stephen discussing it. I'm a huge fan of the Paddington movies. Absolutely adore them. The magical element within multi-demographic experience that those movies are. And just the brilliance of the filmmaking. The performances he actually was able to pull out of the actors, the likes of, I'm going to put myself in a pedestal here, I'm trying to remember the names of the actors. Hugh Grant was in there, played a villain. Charlize Theron, I think, was in there, played a villain. Was it Charlize? Or was it the other one? Meg Ryan. I think it may have been Meg Ryan, actually. Not Meg Ryan. Tom Cruise's ex-flame, Australian actress. Ben Whishaw, people like that, Hugh Bonneville, Peter Capaldi, Shape of Water actress, just brilliant performances. He's managed to tease out of all of these actors, both in an acting booth, a voice acting booth in Ben Wishaw's case, and indeed in front of the camera with the likes of Hugh Bonneville, and still not got her name and it's winding me up. What to say, it's Susan or Sue or something like that. Won an Oscar. She was in other movies. Very good actress. He's a brilliant director. That's the point I'm trying to make here, and really excited when he was announced to be directing a Wonka movie. Wasn't initially overwhelmed by the concept of a Wonka movie when it was initially broken prior to Paul King's, obviously, selection for the director's seat. Thought it was a little bit cheap. Once again, following in the footsteps of Hollywood's tried and tested formula of cheap arse fucking remakes, if you like, and quasi-sequels, and in this case a prequel. I wasn't fully on board with it. Not entirely sure this is based on Roald Dahl's actual works. I don't think this is an actual novel it's adapted off of. This may actually be an all-new original screenplay. I had my concerns, and look, it's nice to see that it wasn't just Johnny from the block in Glasgow town who had his concerns, because indeed the man who went on to star in the leading role, the titular role, no less, Wonka himself, Timothée Chalamet, has come out. He's been discussing the movie 24 hours before its release. I'm sure it's been seen by those lucky few eyeballs in the world premiere by now. Fucking well, I've done it. It was probably a week ago, probably 2 days ago, when the review embargo lifted. But it's nice to see he's come out and shared his initial worries about the actual movie as well, about concerns over it potentially being a cynical money grab, a cash grab if you'd like. And also it didn't stop him. He did read the script and he was blown away by the script. And this is something I'm saying time and time again about Paul King. I don't know if he's involved in the actual script writing, but his movies have this magical element that seems to pop out of the actual script, out of the paper, out of the pages if you'd like. And the actors buy into it. And you just look at the Paddington movies, the incredible assortment of actors, mostly British actors, who populate his movies, and it's stunning. There must be something truly wondrous in the man's reputation, or indeed if he's involved in the writing process in his scripts. And as you can see, Chalamet's been out. He's been speaking to Games Radar Plus, bizarrely, and not the type of publication you would normally associate with films. You'd associate a publication with the name Games Radar Plus with covering gaming news, but clearly they are a multifaceted, finger in many pies kind of organisation. And this is what he had to say. He says, like many people, me included, as I just admitted, when there are remakes, I feel very protective over the original character. In versions you love, your eyebrows go up with scepticism about whether this is a legitimate, worthwhile story or a cynical money grab. But I was reading the first 3 pages of the script and the song Hat Full of Dreams was in there. He went on to say that, and there was no music to accompany it, but the lyrics were so clever about this young Willie who was definitively not the crazy. It was definitively not the crazy, cynical, kind of jaded, brain-fried version that we see in the 2 prior films, but was very hopeful, young, ambitious, won't take no for an answer, maybe a little naive. I think that's very clever. And look, it is. This isn't the most original concept, this film. It is mining off of a nigh on 40, 50-year-old movie now. We've seen a remake, sort of. Yeah, it was a remake. The Tim Burton one wasn't very good. And you could say, look, have some originality, Paul. Have some originality, Sonny. Make an all-new story about an all-new character in an all-new universe with all new sort of thematics. Do something completely original from the ground up. They've not done that, but what they have done, seemingly through Timothée Chalamet's sort of framing of his experience reading the script for the first time, is they've managed to take Wonka as a concept and strip it down to its bare nuts and bolts. And they've managed to give us, potentially, I've not seen it yet, it's not out until tomorrow, I'm looking forward to it though. They've managed to give us what looks to be a thoroughly original and clever retelling of an infamous cinematic character. Now again, I've still got concerns because it's not Gene Wilder, and Gene for me is Willy Wonka. He is the sort of the synonymous name when you think of Willy Wonka. Obviously we have got Johnny Depp sharing that space with him now, but he's a black sheep. He's a sort of Cinderella of his story without the magical pumpkin carriage and horses and going to the ball. He's just the sort of hidden away. I was going to say good looking sister, but I'm taking this analogy too far. You know what I mean? He's forgotten about. No one wants to think about Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka. So I've still got concerns. It's not Gene Wilder, it is Timothée Chalamet. Although I have been fucking effervescent, I think that's the word I'm looking for, in my praise of Chalamet and his acting ability. I'm going to claim this guy is my generation. He was born in 1995. He's a millennial. He's a sort of millennial Zoomer crossover. But he's very much a millennial. So I'm claiming Chalamet for my generation. For me, he's the standout actor in my generation to date. He is like the Leonardo DiCaprio for millennials. The man is an incredible talent. He will win an Academy Award at some point. He just fundamentally understands film, the arts. He was born and bred in New York. I think it was the West Village or something like that. Round about the same institutions and hangabouts that Bob Dylan famously hung around. He wasn't from New York. He was from Duluth, Minnesota, but he moved to New York to experience that atmosphere, that vibe. So he's a very artsy kind of guy. And he just gets the industry. He seems to get the roles. And he's a stunning actor. A really incredible actor. A chameleon actor. Everything he puts his hand to often turns to gold. That makes no sense. Everything he puts his hand to often, it should be just turns to gold. And it does, to be fair. And he can do everything. He can do drama. He can do musicals. He can do everything. The man has a fucking jawline chiselled out of granite. So I trust this guy when he reads the first 3 pages of a script. And I trust his opinion. Because this guy can take any role. He's not reliant on sort of the malevolent forces of the studio Hollywood to give him roles, to keep him going. This guy's a star, a bona fide star in his own right now. He's only in his mid-20s, late 20s, whatever he is now. He can pick and choose. He can be picky with the roles he takes. And he's took this role on. And Hugh Grant's took a role on. And Hugh Grant's in a bit of a renaissance just now. He's going into a new era of Hugh Grant. So you've again got what you've seen in the Paddington movies. You've got really colourful, interesting, unique telling of an infamous story. In this case, it's Wonka, not Paddington. And like those movies, you've got a brilliant cast and a sort of brilliant ensemble. And you've got a fantastic mind behind the directors, in the director's seat behind the camera, sort of charting this vision to its sort of fruitful end, hopefully. So I'm excited for this, man. And you can see here, Rotten Tomatoes, 81% rating, I think, 84% rating. It was 81% 2 days ago on MovieWeb, but it's now been up 3%. 84% through 94 reviews. It's doing very, very well on a critical front. I was about to say front, I don't know why. That's what happens when my mind is tired. I've been out all day. This is going to be a short show. I said that, didn't I? Before I go off a cliff. And I'm trying to check things off camera and pronounce words correctly in front of a camera. It usually works, but when you're tired, the mind does play fucking tricks on you. I digress. 84%, 94 reviews. It's decent, man. It's not knocking people's socks off by any means. It's not American Fiction on the left there, 93%. The Zone of Interest, 92%. It's not in the upper echelons of highly rated films in the sort of annals of Rotten Tomatoes, or tomatoes, depending on how you pronounce it. Hi, Nana. 100%. Wow. But it's very, very well thought of. I'm going to read some of these reviews. I'm going to elongate this topic out more than it has to. I'll start off with David Sexton because he's one of the few Debbie Downers in there. I don't understand this review. I've already read this prior to coming on, and this isn't a criticism. Maybe the last bit's a criticism, but this is a panto. Well, it's fucking Wonka, mate. Did you watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? That was like a panto. You could have took that concept of that film, stripped it down, put it in a live setting. It's a fucking pantomime, mate. That's a panto. It's colourful. It's a child-friendly, multi-demographic story. It's got song and dance numbers. It's got larger-than-life sort of figures and environments and colourful costumes. It's a fucking panto, mate. This could be a panto. They could take this on the show, run this in the West End as a sort of elaborate, artsy pantomime setup, and it would work. That's not a criticism, David. It's creakiness masked by top-notch character actors, giving it welly. Unlike the Paddington films, however, it features frequent song and dance routines with banal, obvious lyrics and generic, forgettable music. Well, I tell you, just based off the trailer, that hat full of, what was it he called it, the song? Hat Full of Dreams. I thought that looked like a pretty decent song and dance number. Really impressive visuals and choreography. The song seemed to have meaning. It worked for the Wonka character. So if we're basing it off of that one song, I think one out of maybe a half dozen numbers in a 2-hour movie, that's not too fucking bad. I wouldn't say it's forgettable music. It's not World of Pure Imagination or whatever that song was called. I think it was Pure Imagination was the name of the song. It's not that level, which for me is right up there with Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Mary Poppins. It's one of the great musical numbers in a film in the last 50, 60, 70 years. It's right up there. I watched a guy breaking the sort of musicality of that song down, and just the little chord changes and the brilliant little musical inflections utilised in that song are genius, pure genius. So it's not up there with that potentially, but that doesn't mean it's a forgettable and generic. But look, he's seen the film, I've not seen it. Maybe David Sexton's right. I'm going to forget him though and go off and read some of the positive ones. Let's go to Financial Times guy Danny Lee. Success may have embittered the older Wonka. He started out so sweet. Conceptually, it makes sense, but the terrifying scale of pep works only because of Chalamet. I mean, that's why you cast Chalamet, isn't it? That's why you bring a guy of that calibre in. If you want to rest an entire film on one man, you make sure that one man has broad shoulders and he can carry that weight, and Chalamet certainly can. Emily Zemler, Observer, top critic, rated it fresh. The film is charming and warm-hearted, much like Paddington and its sequel. And the on-screen delight is infectious. 4 out of 4. She rated it highly. Johnny Olek-Sinsky, New York Post. These are short and sweet. I like these. These are better snippets than what the likes of MovieWeb use, where it's half a fucking review and you're speaking until you can't speak anymore. Wonka is its own, totally unchallenging confection. a Nestle Crunch bar of a movie, you're going to see a lot of double entendre sort of puns with relations to chocolate and confectionery in these snippets, because these critical minds, they just can't help themselves being smart arses. They just have to present their review in a way that bears a resemblance to the sort of innards of the film. They just can't fucking help themselves. Here we go, I'll read this one. Ian Freer of Empire Magazine. Freer, I'm going to say Freer. It may not scale the heights of his Paddington duo. I mean, that's high heights there. Some of the best children's movies ever made. Just family fun movies. Because I'm not a child, and I certainly wasn't a child when those movies came out, and I fucking love them. But Paul King's Wonka is a beguiling way to spend 116 minutes. I mean, it's short, sweet, isn't it? It's an hour and 56 minutes, probably including the credits there, so you're probably talking closer to an hour and 45 minutes. That's nothing. Nothing. In film terms these days, I mean, that will go by in the blink of an eye. I will barely have the popcorn halfway down before this film's coming into its final act. That's a perfect amount of time. Perfect for all ages, be the young toddlers or older octogenarians with their eyes awash with varifocal goodness. I digress. Perfectly anchored by Chalamet's benevolent dandy. See, I'm not entirely keen on that benevolence nonsense though. I get it, he's a sort of wisecracking, naive, young, fresh-minded Willy Wonka, but Willy always had a certain degree of malevolence sort of bubbling under the surface. You didn't know how to take him. He was almost like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi, where we know he's a good guy, but he's dressed in black and he has had a little bit of a fracas with Darth Julius Vader, if I can speak. Take a drink. And we don't know if he's been tainted by that experience as we go into the final act of the original trilogy. We don't know what Luke we're getting until we get to the sail barge, if you'd like, and on Tatooine. And then we see that he's very much still a good guy. That's kind of what it's like with Wonka. He's got a degree of malevolence underneath the surface, and I don't want him sugarcoating this character. I want him to still have that edge. But I'm going to skip some of these and go to some of the more prominent ones. The Irish Independent, nope. I'll read a couple more. I'm not going to linger too long. I want to keep this short and sweet while I still have some fucking verve about me and I don't go fully off a cliff. Read these ones, I don't really care. I want top critics. I have to stress, is there a filter up here where I can filter out these shysters? Top critics, there we go. Read all of these cretins' work. BBC, no, I don't like the BBC. BBC are party political broadcast for the Conservatives in the United Kingdom now. They can go and fuck themselves. They are bought and sold. Kevin Mayer, Times, nope. He just looks like Douglas Ross, the Scottish leader of the Conservatives in Scotland. That makes no sense. The Scottish leader of the Conservatives in Scotland. I'm not reading his review. I'm not having him. Vanity Fair, Richard Lawson. Wonka is in fact a lively, winsome pleasure. A film decidedly aimed at children that nonetheless incorporates some dark matter. That's what you need. That's what I was hinting at. You need some dark matter in there. You need some goodness that's presentable to adult minds as well. Have the superficial stuff and have some, most of it be for kids. It can be enjoyed equally by all ages, but have some of that darkness under the surface just poking its head out like a little Nessie in Loch Ness. Courtney Howard of AV Club. I'll read this. This will probably be the last one. You know, I'll read the Mashable one because I'll fucking read that out. It's so short. Kirsty Puchko. The naysayers were wrong. Wonka is wonderful. Brilliant to hear it. Courtney said this. It's an amuse-bouche. I've never said that. Need to search that up. To a nostalgic meal dal. I see what you did there. I quite liked that. And nostalgic meal, Dal and Wilder. I thought she was doing a pun on meal deal. Dal and Wilder, once crafted. And while King and Chalamet don't necessarily break that mould, their collaboration leaves a lovely imprint. I tell you, man, I think this movie's going to be a monster hit. I think it's going to do wondrously well at the box office. I think it's going to do wondrously well on a critical and a general Joe Blog front, in terms of the perception of its quality, of its artistic brilliance, if you'd like. It's just the perfect time for this movie to come out. It's a family adventure film. It's a lovable character who's renowned for decades, generational sort of story. It's a musical. It's Christmas season, man. This has got all of the hallmarks to be massive, absolutely fucking huge. We have got some other movies. I feel like Paul McCartney in a live performance. I'm like, fucking hell. It's got all the hallmarks to be a huge success, man. I think it's going to be massive. I think it's going to make huge money. I don't think there is some big releases coming out in December this year, but this is by far the Titanic release coming out. Wonka. I think it will have most of the holiday season to itself. It will have legs. It will have great word of mouth. Chalamet again will be a massive part of that process of the film being what it is. Paul King obviously being another huge part of it, being a fantastic director. I think this will definitely be another notch on his sort of good side of his films that he's released. Paul King, I've not seen any bad ones as of yet. Really looking forward to it, man. It's just the perfect time for a film like this. It's got that magical quality. Watching the trailers, had a magical quality to it. This film, it just reeked of Paddington. It reeked of even the Eli Roth movie, a house with the house with the clocks in its walls. I think that's what it was called. But it's kid friendly, but it's also got enough to infuse the adults. It's got magical elements to it. It just hits, just little twinkles. It makes you feel good, and that works in Christmas. So I'm glad he was initially worried. I'm glad he read the script and was infused by it, decided to take the role on. I'm glad to see it getting mostly positive reviews. And look, here's hoping that's something that's echoed by the general audience tomorrow when they go and see this movie in the theatres. I will do my damnedest to get into a theatre and see this movie ASAP. It's very short. Even in my busy time of the year, I think I can find some time to go and see this. Loved Charlie and the Chocolate Factory growing up. It's one of those movies you just can't not enjoy it. It's got such memorable moments, brilliant musical elements to it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, man. I think it's going to be an absolute fucking monstrous hit for King, for Chalamet, for Sony, and for the Wonka franchise. I'm moving on though to the second topic on the show, welcome in on tonight. It's about Animal, it's about Ranbir Kapoor. I've said that there and it sounded wrong. Ranbir. I felt I said that wrong there, but I didn't. It's Ranbir Kapoor. Incidentally, I did not know Ranbir Kapoor was directly linked to the first family of Bollywood. I think they says the Kapoors. By all accounts, a little bit of, what is the terminology again when you bring family members in and give them a start in an industry they otherwise might not deserve, but because you've got influence? Nepotism. I didn't realise there was a bit of nepotism involved. Look, I'm all for nepotism. I don't really care whether he's got links to a historic family in terms of Bollywood and film in India. If he can't act for shit, all that nepotism will not do him any good whatsoever. He will come in and he will quickly leave. Exit stage right or left, whatever that phrase is. Clearly Ranbir's a very talented actor. I'm really wanting to see that Sanjay Dutt biopic that he did. I've heard that's his sort of magnus opus for now in his career. He's still a relatively young guy. He's about 38, 39, maybe 40. He's got a long career ahead of him. And I really respect, just going through this article, they're talking about his latest sort of hits post-pandemic. I respect the fact this guy's dabbling with different genres. He's not just sticking to action. He's not just sticking to sort of identical, easy to film movies. He's doing romantic. He's doing other kind of genres. He's experimenting with himself, trying to tease his acting range out. So I've got respect for this guy. I don't give a fuck where he's nepotistic. He's starting his career was from a nepotistic sort of standpoint. He seems like a cool cat and he can act. So, well, I think he can act. I've not actually seen any of his movies. I've only seen trailers. We've only reacted. We will watch them. But this one, Bollywood epic, crime epic Animal. They're saying here, I'll bring it up. I'll endeavour to bring it up anyway. If I can just select that. I've still not got the stream deck working as of yet. Bollywood, this is coming in from Collider incidentally. Bollywood crime epic Animal is continuing to defy poor reviews and a raging controversy with massive numbers at the box office. After finishing its opening weekend as the world's #1 film ahead of holdovers such as Napoleon and The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Animal crossed the $50 million mark at the global box office in just 5 days of release, of which over $30 million has come from its home country India and nearly $7 million from domestic theatres. It goes on to say provocateur. Jesus Christ. Provocateur. That's the word. Not that hard to say, John. Sandeep Reddy Vanga and starring Ranbir Kapoor. Handily the most bankable Bollywood star of his generation. Don't know about that. I need to look into that one, mate. Maybe you're right, I don't know. It's grossed 425 crore, $50 million so far. It's not really this I want to speak about. We discussed this at the start of the week. It's performing very, very well at the box office. That's not a surprise. This movie's been promoted very, very well. Ranbir is a popular actor. And it's a massive hit, man. In terms of audiences going and seeing it, that is. I'll get into that in a moment. It's massive in general in terms of its output since it's been released in the theatres. That's not a surprise to me. What is a surprise to me is this blowback against the film's concept, which is they're terming toxic masculinity and the celebratory means of which they explore the toxic masculinity in this movie. I'm completely... Sanju's that movie I want to watch, incidentally. It's tracking to overtake that. That's his biggest hit to date, $70 million. That's chicken feed for this movie. That movie will almost certainly, Animal, that is, will almost certainly overtake Sanju in the coming days. It's really this here. 30%, 23 reviews from the critical side of things on Rotten Tomatoes. As you can see here, 250 plus verified ratings on the audience score side. They're rating it much, much higher. And again, it was this concept that we dabbled with on Monday, but I'm going to once again two-footed challenge right into. I'm going to be brief about it because I've got very short time left to actually do this other topic before I end the show. I don't know if it's something in the mindset of these two camps going to see a film. I don't know if that's where the division stems from. Are they looking for something different from the film? Because for me, I'm not a critique. I'm not an official critical reviewer eligible for Rotten Tomatoes. I'm on the audience side of things, although we talk about it on this platform. I went into this movie, I didn't go into it, I've not seen it, but I went in watching the trailer, and then obviously the teaser, then the official trailer, knowing exactly what I was going to get. Having just seen the teaser, and then a month later we watched the trailer, I was well aware of the kind of movie this was. It's violent, it's visceral, it's about criminality, it's about this dysfunctional relationship between a son and his father, and him trying to make his father proud, but also maybe trying to create a legacy for himself whilst doing so. This isn't a movie that's going to explore human condition, gritty stuff. It's not going to be for the critical mind. This is a viscerally violent story about a man. So at what point do you get your wires crossed going into this and think you're going to get, I don't know, man, some incredible human condition, deeply emotional movie. It's going to celebrate females or women. That's not what the movie's about. The movie's about this guy here and his relationship, dysfunctional it seems to be with his father, with a fuck ton of violence and killing and bloodshed flung in for good measure. That's precisely what I expect this movie to be, and I can only assume it's what the audience members expected the movie to be, because they've went in with an open mind, 3.5 hours, watched it, and they've loved it in the main, 85%. Far, far higher. You're talking a 55% split in the perception of this movie and how good it is. And if you get down, I'm telling you now, it'll all be mostly female reviewers who are going after it because it's misogynistic, morally bankrupt, stomach-churningly violent, blood-soaked drama about daddy issues that is screaming at the top of its lungs with nothing to say. The vilest protagonist in cinematic history. That may be true, to be fair, it does look quite vile, but I quite enjoyed it in the trailer, I'm not going to lie. I'd actually like to see it. It's very long though, it's going to be hard for me to get to a theatre and watch a 3.5 hour long movie in December, my busiest time of the year for my work. But you can see here, barring one or two voices, they're all saying that terrible attitude to women runs alongside a cunning use of India's religious minorities. They're just getting after it because it's about a guy, a troubled guy who's displaying toxic masculinity in their minds, and my mind is just being violent and trying to appease his father. That's the story, man. You knew what you were getting. Why did you go and watch it? If you didn't like it, if it was going to make your stomach churn, if it wasn't appealing to you, don't go and watch the movie. Pass on it. Give it to one of your colleagues who can go and review it for you, or for themselves, who perhaps will enjoy it more. It's really not difficult. I mean, I know which movies I like and I know which movies I don't like. And if I don't like the concept of a film, I've seen the promotional push and I don't like the way they're promoting the film. I don't like the look of the violence, the way they're displaying toxic masculinity, the way they are deriding or minimising female characters in the trailers. And I just wouldn't go and watch it. If that wasn't my thing, I would not go and watch the film. So it's baffling to me, but glad to see that it's doing well in a box office sense. I'm glad for Ranbir Kapoor and I'm glad for everyone involved with the film, because it does look like an epic film. It looks like an epic crime kind of drama, violent action kind of film. An amalgamation of those two genres, if you like. Glad to see it's doing well. Don't understand what the critical side of things is about, but I do. I'm fibbing, I do, because we see it over here as well. Moving on to the final topic though, I was going to discuss Amy Winehouse. I didn't even know what was happening. I want to say we potentially reacted to this though, so I may be talking nonsense, but it's going to be hard for anyone to step into the shoes of Amy Winehouse in a biopic. She was such a troubled individual, an incredibly colourful and eventful human being over the course of her 27 years on the planet. It's prime real estate for a biopic, to be fair. It's tailor-made to potentially get Oscar success if it's even reasonably accurate and good at all. The actress puts in a performance, you're looking at a potential Oscar buzz, because it's such a well-known and tragic story about the downfall of a beautiful-looking human being who's got an incredible voice like an angel, who just has her demons and ends up succumbing to them. That's a concept that should work, but she's such an iconic and individual person. It's really hard to get that right. It's almost like Elvis, and by all accounts, I mean, most people didn't seem to like that Elvis movie. I actually didn't mind it. It was very fucking long. That's what I will say, and it dragged a bit. But Austin Butler did the best he could, but most people weren't of my mindset. Most people weren't on board with that Elvis movie. You had the Elvis fanatics, I'm sure, who enjoyed it, but a lot of people did not enjoy it. It's very hard in your mind's eye to replace this person you know of with an actor and give up that sort of, taking out the movie vibe. But I digress, man. What will be, will be. It's coming out next year. We'll see how it is. It may be fantastic. I may go and watch it. But yeah, GTA 6 breaks YouTube views record. It's the YouTube views record for a single day. Reportedly, YouTube views in 24 hours, blowing away competition, they say. Didn't even need to use a thumbnail with a fake dead-eyed smile. There you go. That felt personal there, because I've had a couple of dead-eyed smile thumbnails over the years. But yeah, just use this as an excuse really to discuss the trailer briefly before I bugger off into the sort of moonlight, if you'd like, because it's very dark and very late here. And again, some of the blowback, the wokeism that's coming out about this, people hating on it because it's got a female lead. I mean, we've had female characters in GTA before you could play. It's about fucking time we had a female protagonist in GTA. It's well overdue. She looks like a fully formed and interesting character. I don't know if it's her and her partner or it's someone else she's sidekicking with. Bonnie and sort of Clyde vibes I'm getting from the trailer. This two are on a journey together and they're going to see it through to the bitter end, whether it's in a blaze of glory or in a blaze of, I don't know, flames. I couldn't think of a better analogy or end to that phrase there. But I really enjoyed the trailer, I have to say. It's not surprising me it's broke the YouTube views record. This is GTA. There's been a lot of people discussing GTA and the sort of rights and wrongs of it, and whether it's had its day, whether it can replicate the success of previous iterations. One thing about Rockstar, they know how to hype hype a game up. It's been over a decade. People have been waiting a long time for this. There's going to be a lot of expectation. There will almost certainly be a lot of disappointment from certain people who have it in their mind what it should be, and if it doesn't meet those lofty expectations, then they will be disappointed. But I think for the most part, people will be blown away by this video game. Rockstar know how to make games. They know how to revolutionise genres. They know how to revolutionise everything really in regards to a video game. The intuitive way that you can step into it, the online aspect. They also know how to absolutely destroy people for their money by putting microtransactions into like the online side of it, but that's another story. Point I'm making is, you've seen with Red Dead Redemption 2, previous GTA releases, Red Dead Redemption 1, they're always up in the game, they're always up in the ante, the mechanics are always getting better and better, visually it gets better and better, even if it is indistinctable now in terms of the jumps, the graphical jumps, because we've got to a point where we've kind of plateaued on a visual level. There's only so far you can go before it looks fucking photorealistic, and we're nearly there. You can't jump like we did in the 90s to the 2000s to the 2010s, and it's like, wow, at some point the exponential growth of graphical improvement slows down and you can only get to a certain level of realism. But I have to say, from the trailer, I was blown away by the visuals, by the alive nature of the city. There was lots of interesting characters floating around. You could argue this is a cutscene, and it's a 2 minute long or whatever it was cutscene, and none of this will actually be applicable to the gameplay that you are going to see for the vast majority of time you're playing it. But I don't believe that's the case. I think GTA and Rockstar always up the game. I think you'll have more indoor environments just about everywhere will be explorable in this game. It'll be bigger and better than ever. You'll have not instants, but it'll be like things happening all over the fucking place. It will feel more alive, it'll feel more populated. You'll have weird and wondrous looking characters. That's something that's always happened in GTA. There's always been interesting periphery sort of characters who you happen upon, even when you're out fucking about, not doing a mission, or you're online, who are floating around and you can have fun with them. Who can forget in GTA 5, the nudist cult clan group up in the mountains next to the sawmill? Lord knows me and Stephen had a field day up there many a times, wiping them fucking out with an array of different weaponry. You get that in an abundance. This is going to be the next step. This has been over a decade in the working. I believe fully what we see in the trailer is what we're going to get in a video game sense. And I thought visually, I thought tonally, I thought the way the story was presented, it was absolutely epic. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I mean, just look at that image, yeah, it's incredible. The clarity. They've upped the ante. It's hard to believe when I first started playing GTA top-down version. I think it was a London version back in the early 2000s, late 90s, that we would be here with this franchise in about 20 odd years. No one could have foreseen this. I remember watching video game trailers, the opening intros from like 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, I remember watching the Red Hot Chili Peppers Californication video from 20 odd years ago and being completely dumbfounded by the visuals and like, God, I wish we could get a video game like that. Now we're here. Look at the detail, man. Look at the clarity. Look at the sheen off of this guy's buzz cut. He looks like fucking, I don't know, Djokovic meets Ringo Starr with that whiteness, but it's the sheen off the hair, the detail, the sort of, there's a name for it, and I can't think of it just now. The way the light scatters off of an environment and its inhabitants. It's all there. It's detailed. It looks incredible. The music, I think it was Tom Petty. Maybe Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. If that's the name of the band, I'm pretty sure it was. Everything about it just seemed incredible. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm not surprised at all that it's broke records, because this is a game that's going to sell billions of copies over its lifetime. It will be whipping the entire world up into a frenzy, into a storm, when the release date draws closer and closer. I just hope they up the ante, even beyond what I can anticipate, which is more customization options, more interactions with the environment, more random events happening, even when you're roaming about, just randomness happening, because life is random. The world is littered with insanity, with good people, bad people, utter batshit crazy fucking people who do the most insane, mental, nonsensical fucking things on a day-to-day basis, and that should be replicated in these games. And you have your fucking Schwarzenegger with the guns and potentially grenades and Lord knows what other arsenal of weapons you're going to have at your disposal. So why put that to waste when you can have some random try to kill you at some point and you get to take them fucking out. But I want that on steroids. That's been GTA for decades. Well, I digress, so I'm going to round it up because I'm starting to waffle. I did say in the description I would discuss the Amy Winehouse thing, but I've already discussed it anyway. Providing I could keep the waffling down to a bare minimum. Waffle restriction. I can't remember what I says. It doesn't fucking matter. I'm going to cut it there. I'm going to end the show there. It was 40 odd minutes long. I think that's not too bad. It's been 2 weeks since I've done a show, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm tired. I'm out working my balls off here, but you know what? The show must go on. And I do enjoy going in front of a camera and talking absolute shite at times. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go and do a late and brief show. And I did it. So what's your thoughts on the topics I discussed in it? What's your thoughts on the Timothée Chalamet admission that he was initially worried about the potential money grab nature of a Wonka spin-off prequel film? He read the script, he was blown away by it. Now he's a title or lead in it, and it's doing rave sort of numbers on Rotten Tomatoes. The critical response is very, very good. Hopefully the audience response will be equally as good, if I can speak. And yeah, what's your thoughts? Comment down below. Share your thoughts on Wonka. You're going to go and see it, you're looking forward to it. What's your thoughts on the reviews on Chalamet's admission? What is your thoughts on Animal passing another global milestone? It's about to be the highest grossing Ranbir Kapoor movie in his career. 70 million is the target. I think it's grossed over 50 million as we sit here. A couple of days that will be gone. It will be shattered. Ranbir Kapoor will have another record. Have you seen the movie? It's 3.5 hours long. What's your thoughts on it? Do you agree with the critical Debbie Downers, the naysayers, saying that it is celebrating in its toxic masculinity? Share your thoughts down below. I think that's a fucking bollocks terminology, period. Everyone can be toxic. What about toxic femininity as well? Is that not a thing? Did that fucking intro start again there, incidentally? Did that intro actually start again there? I'm seeing in the right of my eye. I don't think it did. No, it didn't. Share your thoughts down below about Animal and about it passing that milestone. Share your thoughts briefly on fucking Amy Winehouse. You're looking forward to that Back to Black. I think I may have said Back in Black. That's an AC/DC song, not an Amy Winehouse song or album. I think she sung a song called that as well, to be fair. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think it can succeed? Can an actor successfully capture the nuances, the personality of an incredibly individual and unique human being enough to make the film authentic and tragic enough to potentially get an Oscar? Share your thoughts down below about that. Thoughts on GTA 6 and the trailer that dropped a couple of days ago that we missed, sadly, by like an hour. I didn't miss it, it dropped when we were sitting here. To be fair, they weren't meant to fucking drop it. It was leaked and they dropped it a day early, the bastards. So I digress. What's your thoughts on the game? You looking forward to it? Were you blown away by the trailer? Were you nonplussed by it? Anything you feel compelled to share, you can pop down below in the comment section. That is a place to put your thoughts. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it. You can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyes for future stuff like this, reactions, the full shebang we do over on YouTube. Hit the follow button, notifications button on Twitch as well to see he's doing the exact same thing over there. Incidentally, for this people on Twitch watching us at any point and they're following, I have got no notifications set up. I have not got the faintest fucking idea how to set any of that up on Twitch. It's been a good few years since we started streaming sort of on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. And I really should get round to setting that sort of stuff up because I've been raided before and I've not known until people come into the comments. And I'm like, fucking hell, must have been raided. No notifications. So if you're over there, hit the follow button, notifications button to see us live over there. Exact same thing, but a different concept, different medium, different platform again. Spotify podcasts, hit the follow and like the podcast, the audio stuff over there if you want to listen to us, but not see our ugly mushies. And all that's left to be said after that is until the next time, thank you for watching me. I am done now. Bye-bye.